HR head, Allsopp and Allsopp. Tell me, what are the few qualities you think I should be having if I were to enter this industry right now?
Authenticity.
Hmm.
People want you to be you.
Hi, and welcome to Decoding the Dream at the Luxbridge International Show. We are all about decoding the dream, someone's journey. And in this particular episode, I must say that dreams do come true. There's an oft-used saying where they say that you're not supposed to meet your heroes. This episode is going to prove you wrong, because I'm meeting someone who I dearly consider as one of my idols in terms of the way he's conducted himself, on camera, off camera. There's a whole list of things I'm going to talk to him about. There's a lot to learn. I'm going to learn. I hope you will learn. And I just want to thank you for joining us on episode number 2 on Decoding the Dream. And without any further wait, let me introduce to you Kameron Hutchinson, Kameron with a K. Kameron, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you, Dee. That was a nice intro. One of the nicest I think I've ever had. I don't think I've ever been likened to somebody's idol, but I'll take it. So thank you.
Most definitely. I have been following you for the better part of 3 years now.
Yeah.
Stalking is the technical term?
I think mild.
Mild.
Yeah, you're definitely a fan.
Definitely a fan. First of all, thank you for your generosity.
Thank you.
Always been on point with your replies. You've always replied, as and when, of course, time allowed you. And most importantly, and this is where I would like to get us off, how do you manage the one commodity which everyone asks of you, which is time? Let's kick off there.
It seems I manage it well, but I will be very honest. I put a lot of things ahead of me. I put a lot of needs of everybody else before me. So, and that sounds really, get my small violin out and feel sorry for myself. That isn't the case. But I do find myself putting others first, whether or not that's family or friends or colleagues or people contacting me on social media, job seekers. I will always try and respond. And I think caveat, I cannot respond to everybody, but I do make an effort and make it my mission to respond to the people that, one, I feel I can help, and two, those people that I feel I can make a difference with. Because if you just respond and say, yeah, sure, I can help you, and you can't really help them, you're wasting their time on your own. So I think on the face of it, it looks like I manage it quite well, but then I work long hours to try and make up on everything else that maybe I've missed during the day because I've been too busy helping others.
Right. So let's quickly, because you pulled up something very interesting, and especially it's pertinent to our line of work and to success as people. Work-life balance.
There isn't one. Sorry to all of the listeners out there. There is no work-life balance. And if you are looking for a work-life balance, you got to question what that means to you. In my line of work, work is life, life is work. There will be people that will listen to that and go, oh, you're such a saddo. There will be people that will listen to that and go, oh, yeah, I know, I completely resonate with that. But if you genuinely care about what you do, your work is your life is your work. And when you're dealing with people, and those people are looking to move to Dubai or get a new job or whatever it is that they're doing, there is no balance.
There's no balance. Let's visualize. Let's picture this, because we're going into a bit of your past right now. High Street, Aldi, Waitrose. You're standing at the window and it's pouring. Take us from there. What was going through your head?
So I worked in a very nice market town called Market Harborough. It's about 55 minutes away from London on the train. It is your typical Middle England market town. It's beautiful. The architecture, it's where I would consider myself from. It's home. I spent a lot of years there. My wife and I dated a lot in that area. It's where I consider home. But the story you're referring to is the day I was at work and I sat in a very nice office, very, very nice office. It was pouring with rain. You are, as you say, between the shops and you just question, is this really it? Like, if it is, that's cool. We strap ourselves in and we go for it.
Right.
Or do we push the boundaries and see what else could be potentially out there. And I chose the latter, to push the boundaries, see what else was out there, and challenge what perhaps other people around me were doing, which was to settle down, have children, buy a property, get a mortgage, and live happily ever after.
Absolutely.
That's not really me.
So you twisted the plot a bit.
Yeah, I challenged, and we talked about this off air just before. You can choose to live a normal life, or you can choose to just see what else could be out there,
Right. Perfect segue into the other part we talked about. Premium. Work with me on that word. What does premium mean to you?
Premium is making me feel special.
Nice.
And it extends into other parts.
course.
You might want to make your partner feel special. You might want to make an employer or an employee feel special. You can do that by a premium experience. I'll use this watch as an example.
Of course.
My wife purchased this for me for my 30th birthday, so some years back, and we could have just purchased the watch online. And that's not me, that's not her. We chose to go to Bond Street in London and have what we would class as the premium experience. Now, again, some people will listen to this and go, oh, wow, how pretentious. You wanted to get the real experience. Yes, because all of the history and the craftsmanship that goes into a Cartier watch, you want to feel that through the product and the service that you're going to get. Buying online, delivered, you try it on in the house, yeah, it looks good, move on. When I look at this watch, it takes me back to a time where we enjoyed a premium experience, a memory. And it's special. Not everybody is like that. They want things immediately. But we worked my whole 30th birthday trip around a trip to London, a trip to Paris, to purchase this watch. You'll notice I don't have one on each arm. I didn't get one from London and Paris. The London part was the Cartier watch. But yeah, premium experiences. And that for me, it goes back to that whole thing of you have a choice as to what type of life you want to lead. And I don't operate in a premium way all day, every day, but certainly I like a premium experience because it makes me feel special. And I also think that the person providing that service also feels special.
Very true. I couldn't agree with you more, because what I've understood and by observation about how you conduct yourself is everybody, and this is me included, and I can look into the mic and camera and say this, that when I walk away or whenever I've interacted with Kameron, I've always felt that for that moment, I was the only thing that existed for you. That is a gift. Because to be non-distracted, unequivocally in the moment, how do you do that?
It goes back to offering a premium experience.
Right.
And I'm the worst person for it. But when I don't get the attention that I need when I am receiving such an experience, and again, we go back to the watch or maybe a job interview. How many times have you attended a job interview where the person is looking over there, they're seeing somebody over there, they're just taking a quick call, they're quickly going to check an email. Sorry, could you repeat that question? How does it make you feel? You feel horrible. And it's happened to me so many times, and I'm not afraid to call people out and go, sorry, hi, is this the conversation we're having, or are you with somebody else? Because if you're with somebody else, no problem. Complete that and then give me your undivided attention. And because I hold it in such high value,
Right.
I expect it given
In return.
back to me. And this comes actually from a learning or a way that my mum has taught me to be. You should treat those how you expect to be treated. And it's so simple, but it's so overlooked because people are in this fast transactional world. I need this now.
Right.
Should we get to know each other a little bit first? Should we have the premium experience? Should I try and see if I might be able to upsell or change your mind on something? Or you just want the transaction? You should treat those how you expect to be treated. So if you like transactional environments, treat people like that. And you're going to get the same in return.
Right.
I'm not like that.
Perfect segue into our next thought, which I always had. So you've got two passions. They both begin with R. I'll let you lead from there. What are your two passions?
Real estate, that's where I started off my career, and recruitment. Those are my two, I would say professional passions, but recruitment extends into networking, which is an interest to me, and real estate extends into how I like to spend my money with my wife, which is to buy properties.
Right, absolutely. We will dive a little later into that, as how you go about choosing and whatnot, because it's a process. But what got you into it? What made you choose the line of being a realtor?
So if you followed me for a while, or any of your listeners have, you will know the story. I've only spoken it a couple of times, but my parents had a valuation on their property. I'd like to say I remember how old I was. I don't remember, but I didn't drive, and I was still at school, obviously. And I remember the estate agent came to our house, and she was wearing a nice suit. She was clean. She was well put together. She had a nice briefcase. I remember her watch. I don't know whether I said she drove a nice car, but I remember the car outside the house. And I just remember thinking, my parents have invited this lady into their house. They're sharing lots of personal details with her, and they're going to pay her a fee.
Wow.
This sounds good. I want this. I'm good with people, and I realised that from an early age. And I pestered this real estate agent, or an estate agent as we call it in England, and she was gracious, but you could tell she was annoyed with me following her around, asking why she's doing this and what are you looking at and what are you writing down. And I remember going online, and of course, when I was that age, we had one computer in the household that you fired up in the corner, and you had the little internet noise, which I won't do because it would be embarrassing, but it wasn't just as easy as connecting on a smartphone now. And I remember typing in jobs to sell houses, and a estate agent came up, and I applied. I met with a recruitment agent who nicely joked at me, and when I was on the phone, he said, "Oh, when can you come in for an interview?" And I said, "I don't know, I'll have to check my diary." And when I got to the interview, the lady who interviewed me said, "So you have a diary?" Yeah. She was like, "But you're so young. Like, why have you got a diary?" I was like, "Well, why wouldn't I have a diary?" She was really gracious about it. But I think the estate agent that interviewed me and the recruiter that interviewed me was like, "Hang on a minute, this kid's super young and he's got a diary, and he's not just said, 'Oh yeah, I can be available whenever.' It's, 'I'll let you know when I can come to the interview because I need to check my diary.'" Not many 16-year-olds have a diary that they work to. They might have a diary that they journal in, but they don't have a diary that keeps their appointments.
Absolutely. And for everyone listening and watching, he's still the same. He still has a diary, and he's got a nice process. When if you invite him, first of all, he's going to vet you out, which is absolutely fair, and that's what I'm doing now. Check, double check, triple check, check one more time, check your diary. And that has, so how did that connect to recruitment then?
Well, that's where Allsopp and Allsopp come in, because I spent a decade being an estate agent. Loved it, still love it now, and often think, I wonder what type of estate agent I'd be if I was still doing it now. But like anything, you become good at it, and you decide you want to do something different. Again, you have this one life. You can choose to just be the same, or you choose to change things up. And I chose to choose things up. And of course, we've spoken about the story already, about the weather and living in a rainy market town. I applied, of course, expecting to get the job, because you don't apply for a job that you don't expect to get. But I never thought that it would take me to living in the Middle East. And plot twist, I didn't know where Dubai was when I made the application. And I know that's super embarrassing to say. But I remember looking online thinking, Dubai, like, what is that? Like,
where is it?
Where is that? Like,
right.
And of course, again, you're from England, just stay. It's nice here. That was I'm not going to do it. You're telling me not to do something. The child in me goes, okay, I'll do it.
Yeah, why not?
And I'm glad I did.
Impish energy.
Yeah.
And I think you now use the same energy when you go back. By the way, he travels extensively. When's your next travel out now?
In a week, less than.
There you go.
Yeah.
Right. So you go back, and then you propagate the thought that, guys, things can change, right? Lives can change. Obviously, it's not 100% strike rate. It never is in anything in life, right? But you strongly, inherently live that cause is what I'm trying to say, right? 10 years of realty, you've come here, you start recruiting young men and women, and shout out to a lot of people. Connor Thompson, I was watching him, and highest transacting rental agent
Yes.
ever.
Yeah.
Right? We've never met, but I've heard of you. And Lee Weston, we've crossed paths at a lounge down at Burj Vista somewhere, for sure. But another legend in the business, as far as I'm concerned. I followed her. Somebody that's passed through your gates.
Yeah, yeah. She is a success story, and I think you touched on it then. Many people will do, and the success rate or the failure rate is quite high in real estate, and it's often like a taboo subject because people think, oh, so many people are not successful at it, so therefore I won't try it.
Right.
That should ignite something in you to say, well, the people that weren't successful, why weren't they successful? It's not because of the real estate industry. It's not because of the lack of projects. It's not because of the lack of leads. It's not the lack of training. It's your lack of hard work. And that, before people come to me with pitchforks and fire and, you know, try and get me because I'm giving a blanket statement here, hard work directly correlates with how successful somebody is in the real estate industry. And if people can't get that and their first thought is to go blame, no problem. Who's the last person to be blamed? Often in those situations, it's themselves. So I would always say this: I am a true adversary of the real estate industry here in Dubai, perhaps because I work for Allsopp Allsopp and we are so successful. But moreover, the people that do the best with us, and it will be the same in your real estate industry, in your real estate company, those who work the hardest are the most successful. Fact. Not the most skilled, not the longest in the business, the people that work hardest. And people forget that.
Absolutely. Great time to mention Allsopp Allsopp. Founded in 2008, one of hands down the best organizations that we have in the country. Great people, great management, Lewis and Carl Allsopp, and everyone that comes along with it in the management team. This gentleman obviously is part of that. Great history and legacy as we move forward. Some of the best people you have probably brought houses from with Allsopp are from them. And we at Luxbridge, and this is something which we are all about, which is something I want to keep saying in every podcast of ours, we're very neutral. We're all about quality. We're all about great sportsmanship. We're all about having a great team as in intercompany teams also, because we just love a person who's worked hard and come to the top. It could be Cameron's story, it could be Lewis Allsopp's story, Carl's story, Lee Weston's story. Shout out to everybody who is working as we speak right now to make a mark for themselves. Because
Absolutely.
Our business is take no prisoners.
Well, the real estate industry has that connotation, right? But I think if you operate at a high level for a good period of time, people will naturally be drawn to you. It doesn't matter whether or not you work at Allsopp Allsopp or you're independent, Luxbridge. There are many names.
Of course.
But if you have a good brand yourself personally that you can emulate through your business, people will naturally find you. People will want to do business. And it comes back to that whole thing that I said earlier on. People want to be treated how you want to treat them. You know, if you approach somebody in the right professional manner, they'll remember you. The real estate industry may have a lot of competition, but the best people do stick out because there are not that many estate agents or real estate agents in comparison to other parts of the world.
Last night, I was having a discussion with our future guest. Watch out for him. He's a young gun. And shout out to him. I won't mention his name, but he knows who I'm talking about. Oh, what the heck, I'll mention his name. Santi, of Santi & Co. He said the same thing last night. He said, D, there's so many of us, but then there's very few of us. And that's exactly what you're saying. You know, I have seen in my own eyes, I would say colleagues of mine from other organizations like Allsopp, again, to bring Lee Weston into the picture, right? Absolutely, we're talking about her, and she's no clue. But when she watches this, hopefully she will. Absolutely. I have seen her pound the pavement with me at 45 degrees Celsius. I don't know how much that is in Fahrenheit, but that's really high. Waiting for clients at the lounge of a Burj Vista in downtown, because she's a downtown specialist. Go follow her. She's really good at what she does. Okay, follow him. I don't even need to say why. Just follow him and follow everyone that we talk about. And yes, I've seen their hard work. That didn't come overnight. No. Just didn't.
No, but same breath, there are success stories that can happen quite quickly. And if we use Lee as an example, she has worked with Allsopp Allsopp and her real estate career for 4 and a bit years.
Yeah, 4 and a bit years, yeah.
That's a very, very short period of time for
Right.
somebody to enter a completely new industry
Right.
in a country they've never lived, to do a job they've never done
Right.
without a basic salary. And in 4.5 years, her life has changed.
There you
Whether that's the money she has in her account, the properties that she owns, the car that she drives, the experiences that she can go on and have, she's done all of that in 4.5 years. And so the argument would be, yes, you've seen her pound the streets, but like for like, in 4.5 years, she has gone a full 180.
Exactly. Very
And
true.
I think that's something, again, which is often overlooked because people think, oh, it's too much like hard work. I'm never going to be a top performer. I'm never going to earn millions of pounds in the real estate industry. With that attitude, you won't. But it
Right.
takes some people only 4 and a bit years to reach that level. Now, if you said to me today, you can invest in a high interest investment account, and in 4.5 years, you're going to triple, quadruple the amount, I'd go, yeah, right, OD, thanks. Are you licensed to give me financial advice? I don't think so. If I said to you today, you can invest 10, 15,000 English pounds into yourself, and in 4.5 years' time, you can make it 1 million. You can.
You can. You actually can.
And that's not a very long time to be able to make that kind of return on investment.
So you are in a very difficult profession in my eyes. It is not black and white. Being in HR is not a very black and white business. How do you choose the diamond in the rough?
Great question, which I've not prepared for. Thank you. It's a gut feeling.
Lovely.
And sometimes that gut feeling does you dirty. Because perfect storm. It could happen. You see the person, you interact with them perfectly, but sometimes through no fault of my gut feeling or the impression that the potential employee is given, something happens in their lives and they go off the rails. They lose somebody, they become ill, something happens, they have a breakup. But moreover, the people who I can honestly say I've connected with, and I won't keep mentioning names, but there are some people in the real estate industry that I have hired that within seconds, minutes, I'm like, yeah, you will be a success. You just have that way. It's a magic formula. How do you say that? Because some people will say, oh, well, you need to look at their CV. Wrong. Please don't show me a CV. I hate them. I can't remember the last time I actually properly looked at a CV when I was hiring somebody.
Personality over paper.
Always personality over paper. And we're in the real estate industry, D. If you arrive at a viewing today to show somebody a property and you're openly showing how much of a bad mood you're in because your car's broken down this morning, your baby's been sick everywhere, you've got a spot on your head, you're hungover from the night before, people will pick up on that energy and go, no thanks. There's thousands of licensed real estate agents. If D can't be bothered to come to the appointment with the energy that I expect, then I will find somebody else.
Wow. That's
true, right?
That is very true. I've done enough and more viewings to know that. Absolutely. Very true. So let me get this right out of the gate right now. Okay, straight from the lion's mouth, so to speak. HR head, Allsopp and Allsopp, on the chair. Tell me, please, sir, Kameron with a K, what are the few qualities you think I should be having if I were to enter this industry right now?
Perseverance,
Okay.
for sure. Authenticity. People want you to be you. Okay? Hard work and perseverance kind of come hand in hand. I
Right.
get that. Sincerity.
Hmm.
Perhaps for me and the way that I've operated through my career, which I always look for when I'm speaking to other people, is just follow through. If you say you're going to turn up at this time with this product, do it. Because the moment you don't, people will think, okay, he can't be bothered. Okay, he's not interested. Okay. No. I'm going to be there at that time. And even if I'm running late, I'll tell you. Or even if I said I would show you this particular property and I'm not,
Right.
I'm going to tell you. But bear with me, because let's still meet. Let me show you the community. Let me have a look around
Right.
with you. Let me,
Right. Right.
show up. And people don't.
show up in so many different ways.
So many different ways.
So many different ways.
So many different ways. And that can be, and I'll use it specifically if I talk about my own profession, because I do sometimes have a tendency to switch back into real estate, and I haven't done that for 8.5 years. So I'll use recruitment specifically. Let's say you have an interview booked with me and you don't show. Out. And why people sometimes, because you've done that face, you've gone, oh wow, but what if they've got like a family emergency, or what if
Exactly.
You're telling me you can't spend 30 seconds to tell me, Cam, I'm not going to be at today's interview. I will explain when I see you, but it's not happening. Okay, it's not happening. I can use that time effectively for somebody else, but you want me to sit waiting for you and you're not going to tell me, and then you're going to come up with some cock and ball story about how you needed to help your granny cross the road? No.
Well.
You need to show up. And so when I talk about following through or showing up in my own personal industry, I wouldn't not turn up for an interview if I were interviewing you, employer to employee, vice versa. Offer the same respect.
I couldn't have said it better. So anyone who's watching, listening, please take note. These are universal laws. You could be in any country. This is applicable. I mean, I think people are people. People buy from people. We always say that old adage.
We do.
Right? And
But it's true.
And it's true.
But it is true. And you know what I find really interesting, and the more I do this job and the longer I become established in it, the more I realise recruitment and real estate is a bit like dating. It's not a bit like dating at all. It is dating.
No.
You're matching somebody to something that they want. They may not even know it. But you make them fall in love. And it's not always as twee as that, but you know what I mean?
Right,
if you're viewing a property and somebody says, no, I want a 2-bedroom Burj Khalifa view apartment in downtown, and then they end up buying a 3-bed townhouse in the Ranches, and you go, oh,
That's
because they
interesting.
fell in love with the property that they thought they wanted. So it's so much like dating. And again, what do you expect on a date? You don't expect to arrange a date with somebody and then the person not show. It goes back to showing up.
Showing up. That basic etiquette, right? That basic steps that you take. So what are the common myths we have in this industry which you believe are true and untrue?
Common myths in the real estate industry are that it is an easy bar of entry, and maybe it should be looked at as a lower profession to other professions in the world. Tell me anywhere in the world where the economy does not revolve around real estate.
Fair point.
There is none. I mean, maybe there is, but not that we really care about. Right now, if you told me today the real estate industry was closing up, no more, what are we going to talk about? In Dubai specifically. Look at Dubai as a city and look at the UAE as a whole. It's grown, and it's grown through the real estate industry. So to say that it has a low bar of entry, perhaps that level is true. You could be an ex-barman, an ex-nurse, an ex-CEO, and go and do real estate, for sure. But where the myth or the not true part of it comes is that you can't be successful in it, because you can, massively so. And although there is a lot of real estate agents and real estate agencies, and of course we're in a market where things are selling themselves at the minute, so we're seeing everybody deciding, oh, I think I can do real estate, I'm going to open my own agency, good luck. But when the market turns, which it will, because if you've been in it for long enough, you know that we have cycles. When things become more difficult to sell, who are the estate agents or real estate agents and the companies that will be around when the market does change? It will be the longer established ones that know how to be dynamic, that know how to sell things when things don't sell themselves. And I speak from experience when I say that, because when I joined a estate agency way back when in the UK, we were just coming out of a recession.
A recession, okay.
Things were selling themselves. Prices were going up every single day. And when I joined, it was like, yeah, no, that's not how it rolls in this industry. And I was thinking, yeah, but I've seen how it rolls before. Now it's changed. So I think, honestly, for me, be successful in the industry. Yes, you can be successful. You are going to have a lot of competition. There is a low bar of entry, but that doesn't mean that the real estate profession should not be considered among the top professions in the world, because most economies revolve around real estate.
Controversial-ish question. Do I need to be qualified on paper? Is that a prerequisite? Does it add any value, or are the values adding value to me? What's your view?
Am I qualified to sell real estate? Am I qualified to be a recruiter? No. Do I? Have I? Yes. Of course, it's different here in Dubai because we have RERA, which is great, and it provides everybody a level playing field, or a platform with which they need to reach a license,
Exactly.
gain it, and be trusted. But that doesn't happen in other parts of the world. I think it should, for sure. And so perhaps that qualification, yes, to become a realtor is important. But you don't have to have any prerequisite qualifications to do RERA. You just need to go to the course, have some common sense,
Right.
learn your craft, and pass the test. But I don't think you should have a specific qualification. And you do see the universities provide real estate degrees and business degrees. And of course, there are transferable skills. I am not university educated, and I don't believe you need to be successful in either real estate or recruitment. It's a people business.
It is a people business. And with people come issues. How do you handle negativity? Because it's all around you. And I haven't had the privilege to work with you. However, I've been in the space and I've watched your space from afar, I must say, on how you have this invisible barrier where you're like, okay, Mr. Negativity, that's the exit. Rest of you guys stay. How do you do that? How do you handle negativity?
Let's not forget, social media is a show reel, okay? It's what we want people to see. And I would be not my authentic true self if I said everything you saw on Instagram was how my life is.
Of course.
Do I enjoy the simpler things? Yes. Does my wife deserve a medal for some of the moods that I may find myself in sometimes, and how she operates and deals with me with those? Yes. I think ultimately negativity is all around us, and it's difficult not to suck that up and then take on the burden. And as somebody that puts others first a lot of the time, I do find myself doing that. But it's about recognizing when you actually can't do anything about the negativity. And I had a really interesting conversation with a friend only last week that I met through work. In fact, I actually placed him in his current role. And he was like the fourth or fifth person that said this to me recently. Why are you stressing about the things that you can't control? Control the controllables. And negativity is either controllable or it's not. If you want to be negative today because you are hungover and you've had a bad morning and your car's broken down, you have a choice to show that negativity to somebody else. Right. Or you can think to yourself, there are things I can control. I'm not going to drink again. I'm going to fix my car. I'm going to get some spot cream, or I'm just going to, have a better diet, and I'm going to change those things so that I'm not negative about them anymore. If you focus on the negative things that you can't control, you can't do anything about them. So put them to one side. And it's taken me a long time, a long time. And I'm still not perfect at doing it, but it's taken me a long time to try and have that way of thinking.
Amazing. Quick shout out to Amelia Hutchinson, his beautiful wife, very supportive. And to Shelby and Poppy, his two lovely babies, his two Shih Tzus who are there. Okay, that makes up the whole gang.
It's the family.
It's the family. And you have an interesting family practice, or family norm.
Okay.
Somewhere on December, you and your lovely wife sit across the table-ish, and you literally do a review and a goal setting. Yes. Which is so HR in its way, but so human in its way also. And it's wonderful to see two people sit across the table, ostensibly different people, but then again, we've come together. What's that all about, and how should I incorporate that in my life?
So in many respects, it's a bit like an AGM.
Right.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
It is an annual review.
Right.
What's gone well, what's not gone so well, what are we proud of and thankful for that we've achieved, and also what are we going to be doing into the following year. It's an amalgamation of people that have given me the tools to be able to do this. My mum, my dad, my grandparents, Carl Allsopp, my CEO.
Lovely.
They've all given their input, and I've now crafted this way that my wife and I like to operate, which is basically to set goals. Anybody can set goals. You can say, I want to drive a Maserati next year. Great, cool. Well, how are you going to get there? What are you going to do? What steps are you going to put in place? And measure them. And it's our way of in the most simplest form, patting ourselves on the back and going, you know what, we've had a really great year. Yeah. Or you know what, actually we've not had a great year because of X, Y, Z, and this is what we need to do to advance ourselves further. But it just acts as a really nice anchor to just review, as I say, what's gone well and what's not gone so well. And sometimes those reviews are done at home. Last year we went to, I cannot remember now, an island off the coast of Abu Dhabi somewhere. It was very nice.
Very nice.
Switch off and just do our review. It was really, really nice.
Oh, it's lovely. And as all reviews go, there's the highs and the lows. How do you come back from a setback?
Depending how serious the setback is, will depend on how you come back from it.
Professional setback.
Having a great network is so important. And actually, whether it's professional, whether it's personal, if you've got a good network around you that is supportive and you can take advice or guidance from somewhere, that allows me personally to be able to snap back. I think there are very few people that can snap back or come back from something just on their own. Okay, They need people around them. We're humans. We interact, whether that's positively or negatively sometimes. You interact with people and you require that advice and that guidance to bring you back. And I'm very fortunate to have a very, very close circle. I'm not somebody who has lots and lots of friends just for the sake of it. I like a tight circle that I can rely on. And those people around me allow me to bounce back.
So that's alluding to your term AGM, which is an annual general body meeting for those of us. That's true, right? All the board members sit and then there's a discussion on what. I think this ties back again wonderfully to our opening where you said, well, you have one chance. And if there's one thing I'm going to take away, and I hope everyone does take away a lot of things, but for me, there's one thing is you have one chance at it, right? Make it premium. Do it for yourself. Because if you do it well for yourself, everybody at that table, all right, it's good for them too.
Yeah, well, you naturally will level each other up, right? And I think that's the reason I hold the circle that I have in the highest regard that I have, because I want to be talking to friends and relatives about advancing and improving and being better than we were the day before. You don't want to surround yourself with negative people. And as part of that review, and this might come as a surprise or a shock, I also review the people that are in my network. You might decide to relinquish some of those spaces. And people listening to this will go, oh my God, no, you've just said that. Yeah, I do. Because if you what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing and expecting the different result. If you surround yourself with people that aren't good for you and vice versa, you're not good for them, you're just abrasing each other.
True.
So part of the review is not necessarily how much money have we earned, how many properties have we bought, how many holidays have we been on. It's also who works well with us. And who do we work well with? Who can we collaborate more or less with, depending on how well that relationship has gone over the course of the year? And it gives you an opportunity to make space for new people. And that's also something I think we don't realise until we're older.
Yes.
Because you think, oh, well, the group of school friends that I've got, they're the people that I'm going to be friends with forever and ever and ever. I still have people from my school days that are in my tight circle now, but I've allowed myself to welcome new people in. And I think I'm part of other people's circles as well, right?
For sure. Definitely. Great time to quote one of the greatest philosophers of our time, Snoop Dogg. I remember watching a clip of his where he said that when you leave the hood, right, you are now leveling up slowly and steadily. Some of them come along, some of them don't. Do you hold it against each other? You shouldn't.
No.
Right? Do you try to bring them along? Definitely. But at some point, there is going to be a separation. And that is just part of life.
But not everybody has the confidence to actually follow through with that.
Sure.
Okay, because an uncoupling of sorts, you know, you going one way and a friend or a partner or a relative going the other way, the easiest thing, oh no, but it's comfortable here in the middle. Let's meet in the middle and be in the comfort zone. The true test of a relationship is whether somebody can go, actually, this is not working for me right now. I'm going to call it a day, or I'm going to call time on it. And that actually links really nicely back to the employment situation. Okay, you know, you are not a hero for being miserable in your workplace and staying put just for the sake of being in your comfort zone.
Right.
Equally, don't move an incredible amount of times just because you think the grass might be greener. There is a middle ground that you can have.
True.
Where you can work on a relationship, but equally don't be afraid to go, you know what, I think this is not working for me anymore. I'm leveling up.
Career highlights for you?
Many, but I would say operating at the level that I did in a very large organisation in the UK at such a young age was a huge highlight for me. Opening a branch and becoming profitable, huge highlight for me. And this was back in the UK. Moving to Dubai, which thousands, millions of people have done over the years, but actually being successful with that move.
Knock on wood.
10xing the number of employees that we have in the business that I operate in now, and being part of that growth. That's obviously hugely satisfying to watch as well.
Moving to Dubai, all of us, the elusive success that we seek. Success is measured by metric money. What is your... For some, of course, for some. But by and large, it's one of the metrics, for sure. Or at least in my opinion should be, because how else otherwise, right? All the emotional discussions aside, what is your relationship with money?
Ooh, I like it. And quite controversially, I will say this. So long as you grow your wealth in the right way, money can bring happiness. And there's a lot of people that would say, oh no, money can't buy happiness. Definitely it can. You can't go to the vending machine and buy it. But the experiences that you have and the freedom that it affords you when you have more of it definitely allows you to become more happy, or happier, I should say. My wife won't like it as a teacher for me to speak like that. But I think I would say money for me is enjoyable for sure. I value it and I appreciate it because I've not always had lots of disposable income. But if I answer your question specifically, what's my relationship with it? It's risk. I like risking myself, and that doesn't mean that I want to go and gamble and spend money unnecessarily, but I like making investments on things that I can see growing.
Very interesting. In terms of investment, of course, now we're going miles and paces ahead as a country, and as you rightly said some time back, real estate is the fuel. It's the foundation. Everybody needs a house. Everyone needs a commercial shop. Everyone needs to be somewhere. We're in a commercial space right now. So are you a long-term, short-term, mid-term investor? How would you place yourself?
Long-term.
Long-term.
And I think because I've had a natural interest in property since I was 14 odd years old, if you use time in the market as a measure, if you had invested 10 years ago in a property, the likelihood is that property will be worth more money today. Fact. 20 years worth even more, 30 years worth even more. I like to see that value increase. And so when I say that my relationship with money is about risk, I don't throw money down and think, let's hope for the best. Mm-hmm. I'll do my research. I'll look at historic figures and I'll think, that's a good investment to make. But I also like to retain those investments so that you see them mature and grow. And I'm also the type of investor, I like tangible things. I want to see the house. I want to go and feel it and see how it makes me feel, and
kick the tires.
I want to, and some people will say, I prefer investing in the stock market. Yeah, for sure. You should definitely invest in stocks and commodities, and you should have a varied portfolio, as I do. But it's super important for me and my wife. We like to see in the flesh what we're purchasing.
If you could put a number, what percentage of your portfolio is real estate?
A lot.
Good, great idea, great answer, brilliant answer. A lot. So, I guess what we've achieved this afternoon is we've understood a little deeper, hopefully, Kameron the person, Kameron the professional, Kameron the dog dad, Kameron the husband, Kameron the HR professional, Kameron the realtor, which is lovely. I mean, if there's one thing I want to draw out in this discussion with you, was that your past as a realtor, which is wonderful, which has played so much into your decision making about, and your affection or affection thereof to real estate, your belief in it, and it is wonderful, Kameron, to see how your life now, when we look back, is usually, as Steve Jobs famously said, you join the dots looking back, is there was 16-year-old Cam, saw this lovely lady, primmed and proper, come into the house, chased her, and still does when he sees an opportunity, basically, right? Learned, grew in our organization, opened a branch, turned successful, looked outside a window on a dark, bleak day, decided that's not how his life is going to look at, uses his real estate experience to come here, join one of the best organizations there is, fastest growing, and they're always hungry. It's always day one at Allsopp and Allsopp. And I come from Luxbridge. It's always day one at our home also. Shout out to our CEO, John, for his journey. And one day we'll have him on the show and we can talk to him about it. But then to be able to draw young people, anybody, into your fold and infuse them into the market and then watch them grow. That is spellbinding, to say the least.
Well, thank you. But I think it takes two to tango, okay? So I may provide the
opportunity?
The platform.
Right.
I may showcase what it could look like, but it's down to the individual to make it happen. We don't put people in handcuffs and escort them to the plane and tell them they must move to Dubai.
Right.
We show them what is available.
Right. You enable them.
And they make it happen.
And thank you for making this happen. This is an absolute manifestation 101. Many a day when I thought, okay, if I could sit across the table with this gentleman, I didn't know it would be across a podcast. Never in my wildest dreams. Honestly, hand on my heart. You're the first realtor to come on the show, by the way.
Thank you.
We start off with Jennifer. Go Jennifer, right? Ladies first, wonderful first guest. And yes, you are the first realtor to come on the show. And it is an absolute privilege and honor to have you on the show, I must say, on behalf of Luxbridge.
Thank you.
And all our members, on behalf of Vincent, our director, John Spino, our CEO. We would definitely love to have you back. And we learned so much from you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for being generous.
Thank you, Dee.
All right. Thank you for having us. Guys, please, I don't want to say like, subscribe, follow us, join the journey. You can watch this whole episode on YouTube, Spotify, and all the other major channels. Thank you for your time. Thank you, Kameron, once again.
Thanks, Dee.